Hi, this is Craig from Sulcata Grove, and I'm going to give you a little demonstration today on grafting White Sapote. White Sapote is a citrus relative, but it's really nothing like citrus. It's in California, people know it pretty well. They grow a lot of it out there commercially, but it doesn't travel super well, and so a lot of people don't even know about it. But it is for a subtropical, it's fairly cold hardy. It actually is a really delicious fruit, and there's some amazing varieties out there. It also grafts very, very easily. I've had people tell me that if you can't graft White Sapote, you can't graft anything. So this ought to be pretty easy to do. We recently got some Budwood from down in South Florida from the Fruit and Spice Park. They have some really good varieties there. This is actually from a seedling that they have that I tasted the fruit off of last year, and it was really, really good.
And we have permission.
We had permission to do it. So if you ask them, they will usually help you get some Budwood. Don't just take it. So what I like to do, again, most people don't do this. I like to use some calipers to find out really exactly where on this I should cut it so that I get the best matchup. So you want to, here's got the width of the Budwood. I want to find that spot on the tree and then come up just a little bit and cut it off right there. And I'm going to be doing a cleft graft. I think that's the easiest graft to do, and they tend to do really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to split this right down the center. So I'm going to come in from the top, and I kind of like to make sure it looks right down the middle, and then just push it down. So then I'm going to take my scion and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in parafilm. And this is just, it's like a little sticky wax paper. But what it does is it's very thin, so the plant tissue can push out. When the buds come out, it can break through it easily, but it helps to preserve the moisture so your scion doesn't dry out, which is the main danger you have anytime you're grafting. So a little parafilm on there. Now I'm going to cut this just down to a wedge. I'm going to cut both sides, and that wedge is going to fit into this gap that I made here. So I'm going to come up here, just go down nice, steady. You want to do it in one cut if you can. I like to put my finger on the back so I know exactly, index it where the, so I'm coming down the other side on the other one. And what you have is this little wedge. Now if it doesn't come to a point there, you can come back and try to get it to a good point. It'll close better. If it doesn't have a sharp point, you're going to have a little place where these two won't squeeze together around it and have air in there, and that's not good. So then I'm going to, you don't have to do this part, take the little shoulders off of the top like that. It just makes it easier when you go to wrap it. And then we're going to push our wedge right down in there as far as it goes. And you want to leave just a little bit of exposed place where you cut above the rootstock, so you have a little bit of exposed tissue on the scion showing. And this should, if you cut these at the right place, fit together beautifully. And this one does. There's no gap in there. You can see, and when I squeeze this together, which I'm going to do, and then tape it, it's a nice tight fit. There's no air gap in there. So now I'm going to take some grafting tape, and this is just, if you haven't used grafting tape before, it's not sticky. It's just basically it's a strip of plastic. And you can actually, some people cut up strips of plastic bags, and that works just about as well. It's just a little more trouble. And I'm going to start wrapping this on here. And this serves two purposes. One is you're holding the cambium together. The cambium is that little green layer between the bark and the inner wood, and that's actually the part of the tree that's living and growing. And you want to match up that green of the rootstock with scion, because that's what's going to grow together and heal. So the tape squeezes those together so they'll grow together, and it also, just like the parafilm, it helps to keep the moisture in so it doesn't dry out. You want to do this pretty tight because, again, you're trying to squeeze out all the air gaps. I usually like to kind of go around twice, but you don't really have to. So once you have this around, you can take your excess, and I just like to loop it through. Tie it off there. You can cut off the extra, and that's it. You're done. Now you're going to want to take this plant and usually put it under some shade, partial shade. Some can go in full sun. I found it does better in partial shade just because it doesn't dry out as much. Keep this well watered, and really within about a week or two you should start seeing buds popping out through the parafilm. At that point you know pretty much your graft is taken successfully and you've got a new plant. And always remember to label. It's good to put the date on there too, because at some point you're going to want to remember how long it took you for it to happen. So this is our Fruit and Spice Park White Sapote, and the date is 11/11/17, and that's ready to go. And that's all there is to it. So the rootstocks that we got here are just from seeds that we had from fruit from last year, and you just plant your seeds to get your rootstocks, and then you can have any varieties that you want.